you ever realize there was such a rigorous path just to get to a conclusion? There is. I mean, if you're going to be a lawyer, right? You know, there is. You have to defend your conclusion. You don't now just get to say what you want to say. Well, you can, but you have to defend it. So, if you just write this out, right, and then you go issue by issue, you're going to see what they're doing. So you'll be able to do then strengthening, right?
Yes.
Okay. And if I'm looking here at section 1, specific to strengthening, let's see here. Would be number 10. So question number 10 in section 1, the issue presented, which one of the following is true with most strength in the argument? All right? Okay. So, again, they can strengthen an argument by going to a stated fact. They can strengthen an argument by bringing your attention to an inference that wasn't there. And they're saying, well, what if we inferred this? Well, yeah, if you inferred this, it might strengthen my conclusion. They can do it by bringing up something brand new. So, okay, so this is, again, we're in prep test 79, section 1.
Number 10.
Question number 10. Okay? And here's what we have. So now as I read this, I'm reading everything I read is right here, other than the conclusion. Right? Okay, now here's what I have. The more sunlight our planet reflects back into space, the cooler the global atmosphere tends to become. And I would stop on the test. I have a plan. That's now a fact, right? But I can't proceed to an outcome without fully understanding the facts that are claimed to be established. Okay, so easy does it. Let me say that. So what did I just learn? I've learned that there's a relationship between sunlight being reflected into the atmosphere and the global temperature going down. So reflection of light going up, global temperature coming down. I got it. Next. Snow and ice reflect much more sunlight back into space than do ocean water or land without snow cover. And I stop. I say, so hang on. So now I have, again, this is a fact, right? That snow and ice reflect more light back into space than ocean or land that's not covered with snow. Yes?
Yes.
Everybody get that, right?
Yes.
So I would infer from that the more snow and ice I had, the cooler things would get. Yes?
Yes.
And I would further infer from that, the more ocean water and the more land that was not covered with snow is the warmer things would get. Talk to me.
Yes.
And we're done, right? Because now you're at therefore. So that's what they're testing you on. Therefore, the greater the area of Earth's surface that is covered with snow and ice, so they direct me back to snow and ice, right? The cooler on average the global temperature is likely to become. So you strengthen this argument by going to the other two factors which are here, right? Because there was more than snow and ice, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was that ocean water and that land not covered by snow. So wouldn't you strengthen this conclusion by inferring that, because now we're told, right? We're told in the conclusion that the greater the area that we have of snow and ice, the cooler the temperature. Wouldn't you further strengthen that argument by saying that the greater the area of ocean water and land without snow, the warmer the temperature? Talk to me.
Yes.
Well, isn't that what we've been doing since I started yapping? It's just this inference that, yeah, you want to make the argument a cohesive whole. Okay, so that's where I'm going. And now, which is what this, and A says, do I strengthen it by saying that low atmospheric temperatures are required for the formation of clouds? I mean, shoot me. Well, but I mean, if you've done IRAC, right, if you've performed what they want you to perform before you look at the answer choices, how in God's name could you choose A? B. Other factors besides the reflectivity of ice and snow affect the cooling of Earth's atmosphere. But this is, you know, okay, that's nice. Affected how? Make it warmer, cooler, how does it affect it? C. Ocean water and land heated by sunlight in turn warm Earth's atmosphere. I gotta go now. And I would whack them all on that.
I chose D for this one, because I had C and D as my two choices, and I freaking went with D.
Okay, and I'll be happy to look at D, but do you see C?
C was, yes.
And again, going through, what makes C compelling is it's right here.
Yeah.
It's in the established facts. An argument is like your backyard. It doesn't extend any further. You with me? So this argument is just giving me stuff about, you know, if I have a lot of snow and I have a lot of ice, it's going to be a cool atmosphere. And if I have a lot of ocean water and I have a lot of land that's not covered with snow, it's going to be a warmer atmosphere. And then this just doubles down on that, just takes it home. So D recites that the atmosphere derives most of its heat from the passage of sunlight through it.
Yeah, that was just like incomplete.
Okay. But that's not telling me what about its reflection. So see, do we have any more that are strengthening here?
Number 12.
Number 12?
Yeah.
No, that's a conclusion. Oh, wait, no, that's right, that's a strengthening, yep. That says, number 12 says, the conclusion of the argument is most strongly supported, absolutely, if which one of the following completes the passage. So what's going to complete the passage is a premise that it's going to come in from here, right? It's going to come in from what's known, but had it been part of the original fabric of stated evidence, then it would have made a conclusion for a compelling. Okay. So let's see what we're reading about number 12. Oh, I don't like it already.
Ampicillin.
Yeah, I got that medical stuff going.
Yeah.
The last sentence just screwed me up.
I'm not liking this,
Ampicillin.
but I'll try it. Well, anyway, at this point in life, what's it to be embarrassed? I can't even say that word, so I don't care.
Ampicillin.
Well, great that you can say the word. A lot of good that does me. Ambi, I don't care. Ambi and other modern antibiotics kill a much wider variety of bacteria than penicillin does. You stop. Whatever this Ambi is, it's an antibiotic, right? So this sentence is saying that, and more specifically, it's a modern antibiotic. So the first sentence is telling me, informing me that modern antibiotics kill a much wider variety of bacteria than penicillin does.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a fact. That's over there in that column.
That's our stuff.
Okay. But I would have to reread that twice.
Right.
You got to have a plan, and you got to have an expectation. And if I'm rereading it twice, you know, I think most test takers probably need to read it twice. Okay, but now I got it. Now I own it as an established fact. Next. They. Well, they refers to modern antibiotics, right? So I'm not just reading the word they. I'm saying, okay, you're talking about the modern antibiotics. Yeah, okay. So they also carry higher profit margins. So drug companies now have an incentive to stop manufacturing the older, less profitable antibiotics.
Such as?
Okay, well, hang on. So I get the second sentence is now, the only thing I learned in the first sentence was modern and penicillin, right? So the second sentence seems to suggest that penicillin wouldn't get as much attention because the profit margins on the modern stuff are great. Well, we'll see what happens. So that's still a fact. Third sentence. This could cause a penicillin shortage, which I kind of anticipated that's what they might say. Okay, but now I don't have to anticipate it. This could cause a penicillin shortage, forcing doctors to use much more powerful new antibiotics in cases where they might otherwise be unnecessary. So yet another fact, right? The fact is, as you push penicillin away, you're substituting the modern antibiotics for it, and they don't need to be that powerful. You know what I'm saying? And penicillin does the job where you don't need anything more powerful. Okay, I still don't have a conclusion. But I have my three premises and I understand each of them. Here's the conclusion. Thus, these newer antibiotics are likely to result in the outbreak of diseases caused by drug-resistant bacteria, and then we have to give the reasoning. Okay, so stop for a second. So the conclusion is, this is going to backfire on us,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So, again, I don't want to spend too much time coming up with the exact words, but whatever the answer is, right, the answer is going to be this reliance on modern bacteria, I'm sorry, modern antibiotics, right, they're going to blow up in our face. You know, so it must be the case that penicillin was serving some purpose, right, is no longer available, and that there's going to be a disadvantage to the modern antibiotics killing a wide range of bacteria. There's going to be some consequence to that, because that's not what penicillin did, right? You with me?
Yeah.
Penicillin didn't kill a wide range of bacteria, right? So when penicillin was around, there was some bacteria that was still around that was untouched. So there must be some disadvantage to like nuking all bacteria with this modern antibiotic.
Or it could be that viruses develop resistant strains.
Yes, absolutely, right, which would be it, right. That they're now, whereas the penicillin, yeah, you know, but I'm looking for an answer now. So I don't have it, meaning this probably has a higher level of difficulty, because my word, I don't have the writer's words, but whatever the words are, there's got to be a real problem sticking with the modern antibiotics, and we missed the penicillin.
Right.
So here's the sense. A, since drug-resistant bacteria flourish in the absence of competition from a wide variety of other bacteria, that would help.
Absolutely.
That would absolutely help. Right? Because now what you're saying is, what you really care about are drug-resistant bacteria. That's the problem, right? And you're saying now they actually flourish
Right.
in the absence of competition
Right.
from a wide variety of other bacteria, and you've wiped out
Penicillin.
almost all of, well, yeah, but you wiped out almost all the bacteria.
Right.
The penicillin wasn't wiping out.
Right.
It's kind of counterintuitive, right? Because now it's forcing you to realize that some bacteria may be good bacteria, right? And some bacteria may not be good bacteria. So that is the answer. It would have, I suspect, a much more high fail rate than question number 10.
Could it also mean that some of the bacteria that modern antibiotic is not killing, penicillin could kill it? So a reduction in the production of penicillin also going to allow
Yeah,
this
yeah, you could
bacteria to
absolutely
flourish.
could weave the penicillin in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. See if there's another one here. We could do just fine. We could do 4. Well, no, 14 is going to be principal. I mean, we can do it. But let me. Here you go. Number 23. So 23 should, you would think, would have a high fail rate. And I'm sure it does. Well, but this is the fun of it. This is if you just like take this like a Sherlock Holmes novel, right? And you take each one of these home, and you really try to break down what the writer did. It's just putting your mind in a place it's never been before. Right. It really is. No, it's really cool because why you're going to want to be a lawyer and then be like a regular lawyer. You just want to be an average lawyer, right? That's what you want to be. Right. But the first thing is most people never get to be lawyers, right? Now you got your hackles up because now you're a lawyer, but you're just now a regular lawyer. You don't want to be a regular lawyer, right? Now you want to be really good at this. But son of a bitch, the other people who are lawyers, they're smart too. which is what happens in law school, right? You're now competing with people. Most people in law school are not stoned when they come into class. But I'm just saying, from my college days, you know, we took a class on feminism and Marxism, and it did become clear to me. It did become clear to me as we sat out in the Oval and passed a joint around. That was Carol Gould's feminism and Marxism class in 1970 something. Yeah, and I must say, I did get it. Typically, that's not law school. Okay, so let me see what if I want to strengthen the argument, I've got to understand. So what do I have? I have the zoologist says that plants preferentially absorb heavy nitrogen. So, you know, again, on the digital format, could you just put a flag on this and get the hell out of there? I mean, you can come back, right? But it's 23, it's ugly to begin with. Just
one quick question, with the digital format, like, do you have a stylus that you can actually mark up? I haven't really done any practice with the digital, I'm just focusing on the book for now.
Yeah.
But like, just while you're reading through, just little.
You can underline, you can highlight, I wouldn't. Okay. Because to underline or to highlight, you have a stylus, you can also use your finger.
Oh.
Either way, right? But if you're gonna, you can't cross anything out. And if you're gonna underline, you have to go to an icon. So.
Wasting time.
Well, yeah, I mean, when you're looking at the icon, what are you not looking at?
I got you.
The text, right? When you're trying to underline, you're going like this, and then you start underlining words you don't mean to underline, what are you not looking at? And now your anxiety, which is high enough to begin with, starts to go through the roof, right? So now, they give you a blue book, so you can do whatever writing you want on that, but you're not going to be able to write on the physical form, because there is no physical form. So here I'm saying, all right, plants preferentially absorb heavy nitrogen from rainwater. Okay, I got it, that's a stated fact. Now they're repeating heavy nitrogen, right? So you're paying attention to that. So you're paying attention, because that's a repeated term. The argument's building on that. Heavy nitrogen consequently becomes concentrated in the tissues of herbivores and animals that eat meat in turn exhibit even higher concentrations of heavy nitrogen in their bodily tissues. Again, I would have to reread it. Trying to go back to like, what is an herb? You know, as a lawyer, I don't know about, this may come as a shock to you, but I don't know that I've ever used the word herbivore in my legal practice. You know, so, okay. So let me reread this. I got, what's key here is the heavy nitrogen, because it's repeated. And so that's getting into the tissues of the animals that just eat the plants, that's an herbivore. And animals that eat meat, which are the animals that are eating the herbivores.
Are carnivorous.
Yeah. Or omnivores, they may eat both, but they're eating meat. Have even higher concentrations of heavy nitrogen. So the heavy nitrogen is not now gone into animals that eat meat. Okay. We compared bone samples from European cave bears of the Ice Age. Stop. So European cave bears of the Ice Age, we compared bone samples with blood samples from present day bears. So there's a disconnect there?
Yeah.
And if you're reading in a hurry, you're not going to pick that up.
Mhm.
So that's probably what the answer is. Because you went from bone samples in the Middle Ages, right, to blood samples in today. And so what did you find about that? So we compared the bone samples from the dead bears, right, with the blood samples of the live bears, fed meat-enriched diets, okay, and the levels of heavy nitrogen in these samples were identical. So you have a match on prehistoric bone samples and present-day blood samples when you're talking about the bears. Okay. Well, but I still don't have a conclusion. Thus, the prehistoric cave bears were not exclusively herbivores. So you're saying because you have this connection between present-day blood and ice age bone, right? You can then conclude that the ice age bone folks were chowing down on meat because of the heavy nitrogen in their bone. Shoot me and open up the wine bar.
That's exactly what you
And
said.
now you want to strengthen that. Well, it seems pretty clear to me the way you would strengthen that is you would want a bone sample from a modern day bear. Because the disconnect here is you've got the blood sample from
Yes.
a modern day, right? But the bone sample is coming from Middle Ages, or not from the Ice Age, right? So if you can show me that a bone sample of a modern bear is related to the bone sample of the Ice Age bear, I want to know something about the bone sample of the present day. But that's going to be a level 4 or level 5. So we'll go directly to the answer choice there. It's a D for Drusus. Bone samples from present day bears fed meat-enriched diets exhibit the same level of heavy nitrogen as do their blood samples. Yeah, because you're comparing the present day blood to the Ice Age bone.
Right.
Wouldn't you prefer to compare it to present day bone? Yeah. But, that said, if you're doing this, you're probably wasting your time. Because it's going to produce failure. Or if it produces successes, it's going to likely take too much time. But D would be the answer. But anything else in the logical, whatever, anything, yell out a number and I'd be happy to try to do it. You can do it, come on, don't give up yet. The day's still young. I mean, I'm not, but the day is. Come on. Come on.
Let's do 24, since it's close to 23, if it weren't the rule.
24?
Yeah. That's an easier one.
So, first you identify the issue, it's an assumption. Okay. So, necessary assumption, so I know what I'm looking for. And it says here that, the biologist says here that some computer scientists imagine that all that is required for making in artificial intelligence is to create a computer program that encapsulates the information contained in the human genome. So I stop, I kind of got it. So there's a position here, which is given to me as a fact, is what some people believe. That there are some computer scientists that imagine that we can create artificial intelligence, that all that's required is you just create this computer program, and that computer program encapsulates the human genome. Okay, I got that. They are mistaken. And now I have the author's conclusion.
Full stop.
Right? But you bet it's a full stop. I got the author's conclusion. They're wrong. And now the person's got to explain to me why they're wrong. So why we can't just put into a computer program human genome. And then we're going to find out why. The operation of the human brain is governed by the interaction of proteins whose structures are encoded in the human genome. So in the reasoning, what we didn't have is reference to the interaction of proteins.
Yes.
And you're saying the computer program can't get this done because the human brain is governed by the interaction of the proteins, right? And therefore, for this to be correct, it must be the case that the computer program cannot also account for the interaction of the proteins. In other words, that you can't program something involving the human genome that also involves the interaction of proteins, because if you could do that, it wouldn't be wrong. So all you're doing, again, I don't know their exact language, but all you're doing here, Ed, is you're just saying, okay, you're saying, some people say you can do it with a computer program, right? Then the author of this says, no, you can't, right? And then in explaining why you can't, the author says, refers to, you got to also account for the interaction of the proteins, right? Well, what if you could account for the interaction of the protein in the computer program?
then it could be done.
Right. That's gonna be the answer. I don't know what words they're gonna use, but that's where they're gonna go with it. Here it's B, the interaction of the proteins that govern the operation of the human brain
Are not.
are not determined by information contained in the human genome.
Yeah.
Yep.
I got that right.
Because if they are, you're out of luck.
Mhm.
But again, that's gonna have a high fail rate. Any other logic?
I got it.
Come on. Yeah, Jessica. Which one? 17? Sounds hard.
Section 1?
17, 17.
Most useful.
Oh, I like 17. It's not, it's a pain in the neck, but I like it.
It's politician.
Well, politicians, yeah, it's kind of redundant to say pain in the neck. Which one of the following would be most useful? I really don't like the most useful ones in evaluating the politician's argument. So there was like a tool in my toolbox, and I'm going to take that out, and it would help me solve. Number 17, I'm on the digital format to get some flag. So what do we have here? We have, over the next decade, our city will be replacing all of its street signs with signs that are designed for improved readability. Well, one thing I'll say about this is like, it's an easy, I get that, right? So, I mean, all of us can imagine the street signs in Central Islip or any place else, right? And somebody come along and say, well, you know what? Over the next decade, so I'm told the time period, the city will be replacing all the street signs with these ones that are designed for improved readability.
Right.
Okay, I got that. But since no one is complaining about the current signs, so nobody's making a fuss, installing the new ones is a colossal waste of time and money, and that's the argument's conclusion. So that conclusion is that it's a colossal waste of time and money. So doesn't that kind of suggest that the street signs are being replaced with the ones that have improved
Readability.
visibility across the board?
Yes.
Right, I mean, because it's gonna be a colossal waste of money, right? So doesn't that kind of like, wouldn't you take that if it's gonna be a colossal waste of money? Wouldn't you infer from that every street sign is gonna be taken down and replaced with one of these new signs?
Yes.
Otherwise, the street sign just would have stayed there. Yes?
Yes.
And I would make it I mean, I don't know that, but that, okay. So, but you're saying, well, wait a minute, but nobody's told me that. Nobody's told me that every street sign in the city was being replaced with one of these signs.
It says all.
Well, it says, over the next decade, we'll be
10 years.
replacing all the
Decade.
street signs with signs that are designed for improved readability. Yeah,
Right.
okay. Then it says it's a colossal waste of money.
Right.
Okay. But that implies that none of those signs would have been replaced in the absence of this program.
Correct.
And nobody's complaining.
But what if in the course, and so it suggests that, but for this program, every sign that was there would remain there, right?
Yes.
But what if during the course of ordinary maintenance, what if a sign has a life of 7 years? And every 7 years you're replacing the signs? Well, does this affect that? Well, I mean, it affects it because it's going to be a new sign. I guess it'll be different
If you
some
want to
way.
replace them anyway, it
But
wouldn't be as
bingo.
much of a waste of
Bingo,
time.
you'd be replacing them anyway. You might be replacing them with the very same sign you had, right, in the absence of this program, but you were replacing the sign. So that would cut into this is a colossal waste of money if ordinary maintenance was every 7 years you replace the sign,
Right.
which is not the same as suggesting that every sign in this city, but for this program, every sign in the city would have stayed up.
Correct.
So, but again, this stuff's not easy. So it's C, what percentage of its street signs does the city replace annually in the ordinary course of maintenance? Yeah, Because if they, again, just take my hypothetical, if every 7 years, if a street sign has a life of 7 years, right? Then over a decade, how many are you going to, what percent will be replaced? Yeah. They'd be all replaced. If you're saying every sign gets replaced in 7 years, right? Then in the course of a decade, 70% of all street signs would have been replaced anyway. They could, well, actually, the whole 100, but 7%, they'd all be replaced. So that would be the answer. One more, or that it?
Do another. Do another.
One more.
Let's go to 16. It's
Right, 16.
16.
1 5 or 1 6?
1 6.
1 6
1 6.
in section, it's a long one.
Oh, man.
That's a doozy.
Okay. Which one of the following conforms most closely to the principle illustrated above? So it's a principle issue. I would flag this not because I think I'm going to get it wrong or anything, but it's like half a Ridley-Kahn passage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and you look at that and say, well, wait a minute. 17 and 18 together have approximately the same number of words as 16.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what,
But here you go. It's which one of the following conforms most closely to the principle. So here's the principle. The president says, when a faculty member's falsification of research was uncovered, the media treated it as evidence of the university's low standards, even though in truth, it was a mere case of dishonesty. So I'm going to stop. So there's a faculty member who's dishonest, but the media, imagine that, representing something incorrectly, but the media represents that as the school is tarnished, you know, the school, that's the behavior of the school. Okay. But since vigilance with respect to academic standards is always necessary, it's good that standards have become a topic of discussion. So the principle is, even though it started out as a misrepresentation of something, right, it was worth going through, and that it caused the university to revisit the standards that it uses, I guess, when it's hiring people or when it's maintaining people. So you're looking for something that is analogous, meaning something comes up and it's sort of, there's almost like an unfounded allegation that's made, right? But then the end result is, but you know what? Even though that allegation was unfounded, it led to a rigorous conversation about something important. That's the principle. And so I'll go just to B's the answer here. The latest government scandal has been attributed to a lack of oversight, although the true cause of the scandal was simple corruption. So that's analogous to, you know, what's going on. Nevertheless, the discussion of oversight is welcome because oversight is important in its own right. So yes, that is an analogous principle. Yeah,
Yeah.
but it would take time, you know. It's easy when you can just pick the answer out and read it.
Which letter was that? B?
I'm sorry?
What was the answer, B?
Yeah, B.
As in bold and
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah. So, hang on a second, let me just.